Welcome back, everybody. We're going to talk about should you do that formal qualification or not? Do you register or not for that formal qualification? So you're about to sign up for that master's degree or that honors degree, or you're about to sign up for that postgrad qualification or just a course. And it's going to cost you. You're going to pay some money and you're wondering, is it worth it? Should I do it or should I not? What will the benefit be for me? Well, today we're going to talk about a very sensitive topic about formal qualifications or not, because there are two ways that people think about this. And there's a bit of gray in between that. Formal qualification is the way to go, and unless you've got some decent qualifications behind your name, you'll never make money and you'll never live a good life. And that's simply not true. And there are other people that say you don't need any formal qualification. You don't need that coursework. You can be successful without it. So what's your view? How do you see that? Okay, so let's look at some examples of people without formal qualifications. And this will blow your mind because we don't always think about this, but Richard Branson, the founder of the Virgin Group, no formal qualifications, nor does Steve Jobs, that was the founder of Apple, nor Mark Zuckerberg, the co-founder of Facebook, and Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft. How about Michael Dell, who was the founder of Dell Technologies? And the name that two names that we all know, Walt Disney and Henry Ford. Well, let's look at the other side of the coin, because you may say, well, I've got a PhD, I'm quite successful, I'm making money, I'm enjoying my career. Well, there are people, one of the most and the wealthiest people in the world, Warren Buffett, has got a bachelor's and a master's degree. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, he's got a bachelor's and master's in science. We've got Tim Cook, who's Apple's CEO. Sheryl Sandberg, who's the Sandberg. My apologies, Cheryl. COO of Facebook. She's also got a bachelor's in engineering. Also, the question that you need to answer for yourself is, do I now register for this course? What's the benefit? And so what we're going to talk to you today about is exactly that. So how do you go about and making a decision whether you should register for that course and pay for it? Maybe the company is going to pay for it and you're in a fortunate position for them to do it. But what are the decision steps and what are the key learnings from formal qualifications or not? Well, when you look at the first thing that we're going to touch on about applied learning, when you look at the successful people we just mentioned, all of them, whether they're entrepreneurs or they have gone through formal qualifications and work for big corporate companies, they applied their learning. They applied their knowledge base of what they received at an institution and applied it in practice. And they never stopped learning. So they are students for life. They also have a deep understanding of their business and what they are about. They were willing to make mistakes and they were resilient through tough times, sticking to the vision. That is really the crux of to decide whether you're going to do that formal qualification or not. I've had lots of people ask me about MBAs, and I've got a master's in business as well. But when I did my own research about whether I should do it or not, I quickly came, and it was not really research. So the PhD people out there, it wasn't research, it was reading up. And nothing against the PhD. I've got a lot of respect for all of you. The question I had in my mind is whether I should do it or not. Is there enough benefit? And then there was interesting statistics on that. I actually bought a book that analyzed and did a scientific evidence based on people that's got MBAs, and the research results was phenomenal. It showed that less than 50% of people that's got an MBA actually reap the benefit, get the return on investment for paying that very expensive degree, paying for it and getting it done, and then seeing the benefit in their career. So actually didn't do much better after getting that MBA. So it does paint a picture that if you do not do that qualification and apply the learning that you get from that you're not going to get the benefit from that. So in a lot of cases, and I've met a lot of people, and funny enough, it's a sad story that through my years, when people apply to do a course or go and ask the company to fund another qualification, they were simply going through the motions of getting a list of qualifications on their CV. So their end game was all about listing how many qualifications you've got. Guess what? It doesn't determine whether you're actually going to be successful in your job. Some of the most successful people that I've worked and reported for didn't have the MBAs, but they were brilliant business leaders. They had applied knowledge. So they took the knowledge that MBA people walk around with, and many of them walk around with MBAs, but actually don't apply much of it. But they were business people. They understood the finances, they understood marketing, they understood operations management, business improvement, HR, all the functions, procurement, supply chain, technology. All of those aspects, they really did really well in managing the business, but they didn't have the MBAs. But they were the most impressive people in my book and my experience of 30 plus years. They applied the same principles that you get in a formal qualification, but they practice it on a day-to-day basis, and they become extremely good at doing their jobs. So when you decide that you're going to enlist or do this course or pay for this postgrad diploma, make sure that you are going to apply the learning. When we did our masters in business, we got together as a team of people, diverse backgrounds, not all engineers, and we registered as a team together before the time. We realized we needed a diversity of thinking, and we were a different group. And so a lot of the work that you do in an MBA is all about, group work. And I'm telling you that most of my learnings was from that interaction with other individuals, not the theory and the exams that we wrote. So that's the first point. Apply the learning that you've got. The second point we've discussed at length on this podcast, and that's being students for life. So when you do a degree, while you're busy doing that degree or qualification, it's already outdated. The technology and the world moves so quickly that if you're not going to stay up to date with the latest and greatest in your field of expertise, you're just going to fall behind. My wife is in the health profession, and she did her qualifications also many years ago. And, she's recently updated her qualifications, and she went and did postgrad courses. But she's on the cutting edge of her profession just because she's keeping up to date with the latest technology. And she loves what she's doing. She's not an entrepreneur like I am at the moment, but she loves her profession, and she's staying up to date with the latest. She goes to conferences. She's part of all sorts of social groups and educational groups to answer some technical questions about the health profession and helping their people. But you have to stay a student for life, and that's really, really important. And even as a mining engineer, and this mining coach is for all the disciplines of the mining and resource sector, not just mining engineering. But I've found that I've learned more in the last year than I did in my previous 10, and I learned more in my previous 10 years than I did 20 years before that. So I am a student for life, but the technology in mining is changing so much that we have to stay abreast with what's happening in our fields of expertise. So if you have an attitude of being a student for life, and which you are because you're listening to this podcast, you will have the benefits of that qualification. All right. The third point about these successful people, whether entrepreneurs with no formal qualification or people leading organizations with formal qualifications and leading businesses and running businesses with formal qualifications, they have a deep understanding of their business. They make it their business to understand their business. It's not a 9 to 5 job for them. It's a passion. It's energy. They read up on it after hours. It's like a hobby. It's all consuming. They do understand their businesses really, really well. And that's why they're successful. They know what's happening in the business. They know what's the latest and greatest. They know the mistakes. They speak to people. They have a network. They've got a deep understanding of their business. And they make an effort of getting to know the business better over time. And that's why they're successful. Because if you have a deep understanding of a business, you actually run into some walls. You actually get stuck. And why they're successful is they actually break through those walls by understanding the whys, understanding the problems, understanding the root causes of the problems, and they end up resolving those issues. They break through those walls. If you don't have a deep understanding of the business and you run into trouble, you just quit your job or you look for another job and you go elsewhere. And I always ask people if they apply for a job at another company, do you know the real why as to why you're looking for another job? And sometimes, a lot of times, people are just looking for another job because they ran into a wall. They got stuck. Now, you have one of two options there. You're going to understand what this wall is about and really understand do you see the wall for what it is? Is it a marketing problem? Is it an ops management problem? Is it a people problem? Is it a technical problem? But get to understand what the problem is. And then you put a plan together to break through that wall. Now, the successful people in life, they are willing to be diligent and committed to break through this wall and chip away at finding the solution. Do you need some one-on-one coaching? Do you know that theminingcoach.com offer these services as part of Kumena Consulting? Kumena means grow, and most top athletes and sport teams all have coaches to grow and become better. Why don't you reach out to us by sending us an email, and you will qualify for getting your first coaching session absolutely free. Contact us at Christo@theminingcoach.com. Terms and conditions apply. All right, we have 2 more points: willing to make mistakes and resilient during tough times. So the other point about willingness to make mistakes, and I've spoken about this a number of times, and call it a theme in my life, is that, if you don't take a risk, if you don't take a chance, you will not succeed in life. You have to go out on a limb, you have to go out in faith and try something new. And you're going to make mistakes. You must know that you're going to make mistakes. I was watching a reality show the other day, and the one woman was in tears, emotionally broken down. And this is not women or men. We all go through this. But you know what broke her down? The fact that she accepted for the first time in her life that she doesn't have to do it perfectly well. She can actually fail, and it's okay to fail. And this is a woman, well moved on in her years, if I can choose the right words here. She was not a young woman, and we have the same with men. That for a long time in my own life, I thought, I don't want to make the mistake. I don't want to make a mistake. So we end up not making decisions because we were afraid of making mistakes, or we want to get it perfect. You're not going to get it perfect. You're not. Okay, so now the fifth one and the final one for today is the resilience during tough times. It's going to be difficult. And I spoke about the wall. Now, you have to be resilient in your career, and the studies may be problematic. You may end up, having a real difficult time finishing this qualification and pulling through. But you have to push through. You have to be resilient. It is not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be at the top. Think about it. How many people get to climb Kilimanjaro? How many people get to summon the top peaks in the world like Everest? It's those that are persevering. They're putting in the grind. They've put in the effort, and they don't just give up when the first sign of trouble arrives at their door. They stick it through. And that's the type of people that you are. You are our listeners. You listen to this because you are the people that are resilient through tough times. All right. So in summary, and the summary is 1 point today, as opposed to the 5 we spoke about. Choosing to do a formal qualification, you have to understand that you're going to get a return on your investment of time, effort, and money to do this formal qualification. If you cannot guarantee that you're going to get a return on investment, you should really reconsider whether you're doing it at all. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Enjoy your mining. The Mining Coach is part of Comena Consulting. If your company is in need of technical study support, due diligence studies, business improvement projects, or business and senior leadership coaching, why don't you contact us directly by clicking on the show notes and following the links that will connect you to us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your mining. Cheers.